What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are reviewing the 2014 Lotus Evora S. I drove a Lotus Evora S way back when, probably 7 or 8 years ago at this point. The Evora S offered something that very few high-end sports cars or even supercars offered, which is a truly analog driving experience. We've got hydraulic steering, a 6-speed manual transmission, a lightweight aluminum chassis. This car has all of the traditionally great components that make for a great driver's car. Is the Evora S still possibly the sweet spot for a mid-engine pure driving machine? The owner, Karthik, mentioned that he paid right around $60,000 for this 2014 model year. Super low miles, under I think 15,000 miles. Interior still in great shape. There's a little bit of wear on the leather seats. The side mirrors have a little bit of a jiggle to them when going over bumps. So we're powered by the same 3.5-liter supercharged Toyota V6 engine that has powered every Lotus Evora variant. It makes around 350 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. Karthik has added a Top Speed Pro catback exhaust. That's the only mod that he's done. This car weighs a touch over 3,100 pounds with a half tank of gas, 6-speed manual transmission, limited slip differential on the rear axle. This has all the components of a great driver's car, but I will say from the cockpit, from the driver's seat, these earlier model year Evoras have such a far offset to the pedal box. You can't sit dead center to the steering wheel and have your feet directly in front of you. And there's no dead pedal for your left foot. Not the most ergonomic car to drive. It's a sweltering day out here, so we do have the AC going. The center console is wiggling about just a little bit. It's got that typical British hand-built sports car build quality, but none of that should matter when we put our right foot down. Let's see what happens. Great sound from this V6 paired with this Top Speed Pro exhaust. It sounds just fantastic. Wow. Steering feel for days. This hydraulic steering rack is so talkative. I actually wish it weighted up in the corners just a little bit more, but it's damn near perfect. So much feedback through the wheel. The shifter feels fantastic. The throttle response in these Evoras with this V6 has always been a little bit wonky in my opinion. And this one is no exception. I've driven quite a few Evora GTs, and this has the same problem, inconsistent throttle response, which makes it just difficult to blip, to get that perfect rev match on the downshift. As you can see there, I over blipped it. This engine sounds so good paired with this exhaust. You wouldn't think a V6 from Toyota would sound so exotic, frankly. The brake feel is solid. For such a lightweight car, you don't need massive brakes. This shifter feels excellent. In fact, this confirms, based on my experience, that Lotus has a major build quality issue with these manual transmissions. Out of all the different manual Evora models that I've driven, they've all felt different in terms of the manual shifter linkage. This one is probably one of the better ones I've felt. It's just the right amount of power. 350 horsepower in a 3,100 pound car is just right. It doesn't feel underpowered to me one bit. There it is again with that inconsistent blip. This throttle response is really finicky, and it slightly detracts from what is an otherwise excellent driving experience. Even at 4/10 like we're going right now, this car is exciting because you just feel so much about what it's doing. It communicates with you through the steering, through the chassis. Throttle pedal has a really nice heft to it. It makes you work for the performance. And I just love that in a performance car like this, in a pure sports car. Just carries so much speed through the corners because you can feel the limits of adhesion of these tires. It's just that talkative of a car. And the suspension is fantastic. It's a really good blend of compliance and composure. It really allows me to attack corners hard while not being afraid to go over bumps and imperfections. Now let's try something here. Let's turn off the sport mode and see if that helps a little bit with that wonky throttle response. Maybe it's just too sensitive. While we're stopped here, look at this. This whole center console or transmission tunnel, it moves. Why does it move? We've turned off sport mode. Let's see how the throttle response is. Hey, that might actually be a little bit better. Yeah, that actually is a lot better. Oh, we are just attacking these corners with everything. Wow, I have fixed the wonky throttle response issue. Leave it in normal mode. Do not put it in sport mode, and you're good to go. Wow, this front end is just so talkative. It's not the grippiest car in the world, but that's not the point of the Evora S. It's not a numbers car. It's about the way it makes the driver feel. And I can honestly say, this is more communicative than any Porsche from 2014. Hell, this is even more communicative than a GT4, a 981 or 982 generation. A lot of that comes down to the steering. There is just no substitute for hydraulic steering. And Lotus is the master at that. They have made cars time and again with nearly perfect steering feel. It's got the perfect ratio, not too quick, not too slow. I wish this one had a little bit more weight, but that could be down to the tire compound, I'm not sure. But the amount of feedback that I'm sensing with my fingertips is just unmatched. Straight line pull here. Ah, so good. It's just such a raw driving experience without being too raw. This is no Lotus Elise. It's not going to beat you up on a 30-minute drive. The interior is still relatively nice. Not as nice as an equivalent Porsche for the same money. Suspension is definitely on the firmer side, but it's exactly what you'd expect out of a mid-engine sports car, so I can't ding it for that. It actually has pretty good compliance. Lotus Evora S 2014. Still a fantastic car. It really feels like the sweet spot. If you like a little bit of that hard-edged, raw, visceral driving experience, but you don't want to give up all of your creature comforts, you don't want to go too extreme, you want something you can actually go out and drive to the grocery store on occasion, this Evora S really does fit the bill. I would say compared to an equivalent, say, Porsche Cayman S or Cayman GTS, this airs slightly more on the side of driving pleasure and slightly less on the side of build quality and refinement. So if that's what you want, look no further. So big thank you to the owner Karthik for letting me review this Evora S. Let me know what you think about this car. Is it worth spending the extra cash to get something like an Evora 400 or even Evora GT? They're a lot more money, but essentially the same chassis, same overall driving experience. In my opinion, this one's the one to have. You still have most of the horsepower, 350 versus 400 to 420 in the later models. Same delicious steering, excellent 6-speed manual if you're lucky and you get one that was hand-built properly at the factory. Just a fantastic car. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.